Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio, podcast, and television show. I'm your host, Life Coach Renee Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Sherry Fernandez. Sherry and I are going to be talking on the topic Life Mastery, how to reach goals and develop the habits needed for your success. Welcome, Sherry.
Thank you, Myrna. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yes, you're very welcome. Yes, I love talking about topics that improve the lives of my listeners and readers. All right, so let me give you guys a short bio as an introduction to Sherry. Sherry Fernandez is the author of the New York Times bestselling book, Life Mastery, Personal Progression Towards an Infinite Potential. The book has sold tens of thousands of copies globally and has been featured on several leading media outlets. She has been a student of personal development for 40 plus years. What makes her program unique is that she has practiced and refined the life mastery principles taught for decades before deciding to share them with others. Sherry helps people who are already living well and looking for ways to reach new heights in their personal growth, personal finances, or personal health to see what's possible. She helps her clients improve in their close relationships, careers, spiritual growth, or if they want to start a new business. Awesome. Those are all things that, there's a ladder. When you don't just get there and stay, you always need to be personally improving. A coach is an excellent person to help you get that. So Sherry, as we start off, just want to get a little bit of your backstory. You said you've been, a student of personal development for over 40 plus years, and then you became a personal development coach. So how did you, move from one end to the next? What's your backstory?
I never set out to do this, of course. I just wanted the story is I was a child of the 70s, early 70s, and in the hippie whatever thing, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And I just wasted the years that you spend kind of getting ready for life, right? And I didn't have an education, and I got married. I had a child a couple of years before, and I got married. I was 22, and we had little less than nothing. We just worked. It was so bad. We'd work. I did daycare, and my husband did 2 jobs, and we were just so under skilled that we couldn't even hardly feed ourselves. It was touch and go, right? But I wanted a lot of things, and I knew that I had a lot of potential. I thought, if anybody can do it, I can do it. I just have to figure out how. And going to college is too late for that. We're gonna put food on the table here. We had another baby not too long after we were married. Ended up with 6 eventually. But I just felt, and I think I always felt this way. I felt this way as a child somewhat. I got more refined as an adult, that I wanted to have financial security, and not just security, but complete freedom. And I wanted to be able to have my babies and still have a really good body. And I wanted to be spiritually, I wanted the disciplines. I wasn't very disciplined. Obviously, I wouldn't have the problems I had earlier, and a little bit of a drinking problem that I quit when I got married. So there was just all this that I wanted, and it was possible. They were good things. It wasn't like I was a greedy feeling. It was like I want the fullness that life has to offer feeling, but I just need to know how to do it. So I started reading books, and because it was a year of cassette tapes. So on Kintu, and we were listening to cassette tapes and trying to figure out how to do it. And I did get so highly motivated. Those early people had such an influence on my life. But one thing that always left me frustrated is they didn't tell me how to do it. They said set goals or do this, but they didn't give me a starting point. And so it was really important to me when I wrote my book that if people read it, they had a starting point, because I had to go find that myself. So I still don't see very many books that give you, there's a few things out now that give you a little bit of similar to what I teach, but a starting point where to start. And so anyway, that's how I got into it. And then people started observing the changes in my life around me. And I was asked to teach a class here. Would you teach this? And I was a good teacher. And that just came natural. I don't know where that came from, because I've got a busy mind, I guess. I'm a quick learner.
All those kids that you got to teach.
Yeah, somewhere. I was a championship debater in high school, so I was pretty smart. But anyway, the teaching thing maybe came back to me. But then I was doing coaching and I don't know, just kind of all just started to come naturally. I didn't ever set out to be a life coach. Um, I had my fitness business. I started after my last child left home, and that made more money if I did some coaching of the clients there than at a gym. So anyway, and then I sold the gym, then had another coaching business, and then I rebranded for Life Mastery, wrote the book. So that's how I got here.
Okay, well, that's a good story. And I like how you started out by saying that, you're a child of the 70s and all you wanted to do was party and, have fun and a good time. And then life happened where you got married and got a child. But something, you said that you always wanted more. And a lot of times, we're in the coaching business and the people that come to us usually want more, but we know that there's so much in the population that just think that that is their lot, that, hey, I was born on the wrong side of the tracks, or, I'm this, I'm an immigrant, or maybe my color or whatever. And they just accept, but somehow you wanted more. And something tells me that maybe your parents had put that in you, or maybe God put it in you, but you were not happy just being the status quo. When you started to listen to tapes, I almost interrupted you and asked you if one of them was Tony Robbins, because that's how I started listening to
That's that
those.
right?
Was he one of those people you listened to?
No, he wasn't. I didn't really connect with him, but I started with Zig Ziglar, and then a big one
Oh,
for
it's
me
Zig
was just how
Ziglar.
Tony Robbins got. Tony Robbins is somebody that said, "I'm going to go coaching," right, and then started his career that way. But he did it as a follower of Jim Rohn, which I told him
Right.
has
I
been
was
a
just
life
about to
changer
say
for
that.
me.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, he was a life
Yes.
changer. And then Wayne Dyer was really
Yes.
important to me. Brian Tracy, those were the early ones, and of
Oh,
course,
wow. Yes.
so many since then.
I listened to them all, but you're right. I didn't know, I didn't start my journey until the 90s. So
Yeah, you're
but yeah,
younger
I
than me,
remember
so
getting those cassette tapes. What? So was that?
I said, you're younger than me. So that was, you got a little, didn't get them. Those guys were probably about dead by the time you were
Yeah, but I
doing it. But
listened to Tony
yeah,
Robbins
but
always said it started with Jim Rohn. Yep.
yeah, started with Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn was the master. I mean, he wasn't the
Yes.
originator either. Some of the old, even before those classics, was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and How to
Right.
Win Friends and Influence People. Some of
Right.
those early books, The Magic of
Yes.
Thinking Big.
Listen to all
Those,
those, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
those are classics, and those are so
Yeah.
filled with wisdom. And it's sometimes I feel like the more they were deeper. Some of the more modern, they were still good. We're great to have them, but sometimes I feel it's a little thin. They don't have the depth
Right.
that maybe some of the masters, the early ones, did. Because
Sure.
maybe because they didn't go learn it first and then teach it. Maybe they teach it too
Right.
soon. I don't know why, but I'd like
They're
to go back to what you
recycling
said
it.
about.
The new
I'd like
word
to go back.
now are knowledge brokers, which means that you go and you tap in to all the wisdom of the past and you just like repackage it.
Right, exactly. That's right. And two things I wanted to say about all that. First of all, that's so true. Really, the natural order is you should learn it, practice it, and
Yes.
prove it, and then teach it. And I think we have a lot of people skipping step two.
Right.
And so I'm pretty I don't want, if you haven't done it yourself. When I had my business, I had people come and say, I can turn your business around, I can make you this much money. And I'd be like, well, how many businesses have you ran? No, none. They worked for a company that was going to give me a consult for me. Said, when you
Yeah.
run a business like mine, you come back and talk to me again. Then I'll talk to you. And same thing
It's
with
true.
fitness. We have a saying around here: don't never hire a fat coach. We had years and years ago, we were at a gym, and we decided to. We were pretty into fitness already, but we decided to sign up with a personal trainer. And the guy's like, "We're gonna give you so and so. He's super good. He's an ex Navy SEAL. Blah blah blah."
Nice.
Well, it was Ben must have been XXX Navy SEAL because he was pretty overweight, and it was hard to have faith in him and to take him serious because his own life, his own fitness wasn't good, right?
Right.
So that when you hire somebody as a coach,
Yeah.
it needs to be somebody who's
Yeah.
experienced it and practiced it, and you can look at it and say, "I want what you've got."
Yes.
Not
Yes.
somebody that can repackage the knowledge.
Yeah, that's really, really true. And there's one profession that you've got to look the part where you can coach, and that's
Yeah,
personal training, or
yeah,
fitness. You can't be teaching
yeah,
people to build muscles if you don't have any, or I go to the gym right now and I see this girl walking around as a personal trainer and she's got a big stomach and I'm looking at her and thinking, I hope you're pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you need a don't quit your day job or whatever, huh?
Ladies, I've just received my performance package from Manscaped. I can't wait for my man to be Manscaped. In this package comes with the ball deodorant. We are also looking at the ball toner. We are looking at the beard conditioner. We are looking at trimmer to keep that beard all nicely manscaped. Then we have the weed whacker. The weed whacker is to clip those nose hairs and ear hairs so that you don't have to see them, because I know that you don't like looking at them. We also have beard shampoo, and we also have the Manscaped trimmer. So to keep the lawn down there looking nicely manscaped. Listen, Manscaped has an Easter special going on right now because they want your man to look like an Easter egg. Oh, smooth and pretty and sweet. So head over to manscaped.com and use the code TRANSFORM to get 20% off this wonderful Manscaped performance package. That website again is manscaped.com, code TRANSFORM for 20% off.
No, but I'm
You're
surprised how many
pregnant.
people.
You
Yeah.
can't be my personal training coach and you got a big stomach.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
That's
right.
true. You want to have somebody whose own personal life is like,
Yes.
somebody the other day about, one of my clients was telling me about how when he got married, he had his uncle come up to him and tell me, you sure you want to do this? And he said he'd been married 3 times and was giving me some advice. He said, I don't want advice from somebody who's been married 3 times. Give me advice from the guy who's been married for 45 years, right? And then
Yeah,
give me marriage
true.
advice.
That's true. But
yeah.
it's really funny that you should say that. We could talk forever, but I've been married 3 times and I thought that maybe I should go into coaching about that. But I was listening to one of the people that I admire mostly. He is doing really well. He's got a new book now out that's called Growing Younger. Dr. Mark Hyman. And he was talking about relationships. He was talking about the fact that, hey, he's been married 3 times and divorced 3 times. So he's got information to give. But it's true. You can get it from both. You can get it from the person that's been married for 45 years because they've been through the good times and the bad times and they stuck together. And then you can get it from the person that's been married 3 times and divorced 3 times because they're going to tell you what not to do and that kind of thing. So.
I know Jim Rohn was big on that. You can learn, like he talks about reading the Bible, right? You can learn what not to do and what to do, both in the Bible. So it's true. You said earlier about how many people they just seem to feel happy, stuck with, or be where they're at. And statistically, in any arena of life, any of the aspects of life, people that we would want success, like money, usually a big one, marriage, fitness, and things we've talked about. Only about 3 to 5% of people are really successful. And often they're the same 3 to 5% in all those areas, right? And it's about 3 to 5% of people. You probably know this story, Myrna, but you remember, you probably listened to Earl Nightingale's Strangest Secret. Yeah. That was one of the first records. And he thought, because everybody has a record player, now they've compiled all this information, he thought they'd put this recording out and everybody, it would change the world. It did change the world a little. Eventually, right? It's a trickle effect, like the things you and I learned from him. But he really thought it would revolutionize the world. But what he forgot to take into account is that only 3 to 5% of people are going to actually listen to it and apply it. That
Right.
was just a
Well,
fact, you know.
one of his beautiful things, and I'm getting all these guys now on YouTube. It is an amazing channel. I turn on my YouTube. I watch YouTube videos in the personal development space every single day. So YouTube now sends all this stuff to me, and I just rewatched The Strangest Secret. And one of the things he said is that 95% of the people don't even know where they want to go. And if you don't know what you want to do, what you want, then you're never going to get there. And that is the biggest secret. Know where you want to go and plan for it. So getting back to what you're doing is you're teaching people life mastery. But first of all, you were obviously, they need to know where they want to go. And like you said, I don't know if you know where you want to go, but you weren't happy with where you're at.
Yeah. No, I think I knew, and I teach this. I don't teach SMART goals. I teach as action steps. I teach them. But when I work with people with goals, we all have this big vision of what we want, like what we want our marriage to look like. We can't even put it in words. It's so big, right? Or what we want our finances to feel like. We know what it feels like. We can imagine what it would feel like, but to put a number on it is almost impossible to really do. We just don't, And so thinking in that terms, I knew those things. I knew I had not really planned to ever get married. I never had planned to have children, but then I had one. And then through a series of circumstances, I kept that child. And then I decided just to, so here I am. All right, I'm getting married. I never wanted to be married. My parents, I did not get my drive from my parents. They had not had good marriages, none of them.
Wow.
They'd had about 9 marriages between them, I think, or something. So I wanted something different. I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have the very best marriage possible. I still didn't think it was going to be very fun. I thought that was going to be horrible, but I don't know. I love the guy. I don't know. But I just thought that's the only marriages I ever saw. They weren't very good. So I read every book I could find. So I had a vision of what I wanted my marriage to look like. And so I went to work on it, right? Then I did the things. I read the books, and then I applied the things that felt right to me. I have even exceeded, and this is true in every area. I think it's just how it goes. It's not just me. It's just how it works. I exceeded my vision of what I thought my marriage could be. It was a marvelous marriage. It just super. We just look at each other all the time and say, "This is so amazing." In 45 years, we've been married, and all of it's better. Even sex is better after this many years. I didn't think people had sex in their 60s, so I don't know. Anyway, so in the same thing financially and with my physical fitness, I'm very fit and I can still wear a bikini. And so all these things exceeded. I put the principles to work early on and went to work on it. It's a slow growth, right? But I just kept at it and kept at it and kept these habits for a lifetime, and I was able to exceed my dreams. And I think that's how it works. So, have you noticed that, Myrna, that you have this big dream or big goal, and then you work on it, and it turns out to be even better than you thought it was going to be? You accomplish more than you thought you could.
It's true. It doesn't happen for a lot of people, but if you put the work in, one of the things that I'm getting chills now, because I'm remembering that Will Smith said this, that a lot of times we experience success beyond our wildest dreams. Like you would go into something and think, maybe I'm going to make $50,000, and you end up being, making 5 million, you know what I mean? And you never dream that high, but it's true. If you put the work in, you will always exceed your goals, but you got to put the work in. A lot of people don't want to put the work in.
Yep. That's true. And has to be consistent. The work in.
Yep. You said you read books, has to be consistent and whatever. Yep. Yeah. And the other thing regarding you always have to have a partner that's willing, because in marriages, one partner could be doing all the work and the other one doesn't, and it's not going to work. So your partner obviously helped.
If there's a key to that, I'd say I taught dating and relationships class for quite a few years, but I'd say this is the one thing. The one key is to marry somebody, not for what they are, but for what they're trying to be. If you find somebody who's working on them, they'll get there. They don't have to be perfect, but if you know that you're married to somebody that's also working towards being better, it's just going to work out. And that's the key, not to find somebody who's got a hot car and a big income or whatever, good body, whatever, to find somebody who wants to grow, and then you grow together.
That's a good one. Someone that's in the personal development space, listen to podcasts, read books, want to improve themselves. But we just mentioned there's only 3% of the population to do that. So good luck finding one that's in that space.
Yeah, true. I would say this though, if you do want to change that relationship, you can't make somebody be different, but you can't push them to be different. But when we change ourselves, we break that chain of you do this and I do this, and then you do this and I do this. If we do something different, we work on ourselves and we be different, it will change the relationship. And that person has no choice but to change in relationship to that, the changes we make. And it could go either way. It could go any direction. Right. We can't control them. But if you're married to a good person and you're working really hard on you sincerely, they will respond to that, and you can improve the relationship. That is actually the only way I think you can improve a relationship, is the best you work on yourself. You work on yourself, which is incidentally the only way you can change anything. You can change the world. You can, whatever cause it is you want to embrace, go be that. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to be in the world.
Yes.
And that is really the secret.
Yes. Right? And so does, Michael Jackson said, the man in the mirror. And I do believe that's the principle that I work on myself, because you know what? Not only does it subconsciously change the other person, but you are happier. You're happier because what is the definition of happiness? Is working towards a goal. And when you're working on yourself and improving yourself, you will be happier. So you're going to see improvement in your life and the people around you. Your inner circle doesn't always, should come in as well.
I love what you said about happiness too, because you're totally right. Though you want to be happier, work on yourself. Just make your progress, because we're designed to move forward. It's interesting. People will ask me, well, what about this thing that you teach about, personal aggression is the key to happiness? And so I said, well, I learned to explain it this way. Everybody knows that if they're stuck, and if I said, how does being stuck feel? It's miserable, because we're never really stuck. We're either growing or we're slipping, right? So that doesn't feel good. We're slipping back. We're not doing well. We all know that's miserable. Well, the opposite simply is true. And when we're moving forward, we're happy. And you can prove that in a day. Do something that moves you forward a little bit, some little thing. I've had people come to me before that I didn't have time to work with, but I would give them an assignment. I'd say, I can't take you on for whatever reason, but go do this, go do something, commit to me to do something tomorrow or today that's hard. And then just text me and tell me how it went. And if they'll do it, which they always do, they do. They said, yeah, I feel happier. Just this one hard thing that I did, just this one thing, this one step. It's an amazing thing. Just the steps forward. People are happier. You don't have to get there, because you never get there anyway.
No,
it's just taking the steps forward that make you happy. And then they compound.
Step one, stepping in the right direction.
Step in the right direction. Right. And then those steps begin to compound. It feels slow, but it starts to speed up because they start to compound and you start seeing and branch out. One of the books I assign my clients early on, if they don't have something of their own to read, is Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect, because it's those habits, doing those little habits, moving you forward, they compound and get you where you want to go.
Nice. I love that. Awesome. All right. Well, that was a great intro to our topic, and we went all around the world, so that's really good.
Is that just an intro?
I love that. Hey, this is two coaches talking. We can get in there. But one of the things you talk about is there's some habits that can propel us to life mastery, and we probably touched on some of them in our little dialogue there a minute ago. But do you want to give us what you're talking about in your book? So what are some of the steps that can get us to life mastery, or the habits?
First of all, you know, it's what you do every day. And this never was talked about very much. I was teaching this for a long time. Finally, I've seen some books and stuff out on it. I never saw it anywhere until the last, maybe decade. But what you do every day is going to be who you're going to become, right? What you do every day is going to make what's going to make you successful. My daily habits. So when I have a client come in, I will ask them what they want to work on, and we work on their goals. But they're going to be they really need to be in. People know this instinctively. If not the very first week, within a few weeks, they know quite quickly they need something physical, the physical self they need to be working on, something spiritual. If they're religious people, they know that there's something there in their religion they need to be doing, or maybe they need to pick up something spiritual, a practice, meditation. There's something spiritual and something for your brain. You need to be educating yourself and learning and growing all the time, preferably something in your field and some things that are outside your field every day. So those habits will get. Now, other people come and say, well, one of the habits I need to do is floss my teeth. And that's good. We'll work with that one too. So there's a lot of habits, but there's going to be some habits that have to be forever. Not that you'll do it exactly the same way, but education has to be an ongoing forever habit. Physical fitness has to be an ongoing everyday forever habit. Spiritual practices have to be every day. And you can't miss, because tomorrow, I can't pray tomorrow's today's prayer tomorrow, right? I can only pray today's prayer. My workout for today is for today. Tomorrow I have tomorrow's workout. My education for today is just going to be missed if I don't do it today. I have to do it today. And if people will do, and I learned this the hard way, I do it, go back and forth. I had all those kids, it means all the ball games and all the dance lessons and all the laundry and all that stuff. And sometimes I think I'm too busy to do my personal help, to work out today, for example. I never got any more done. And I felt less happy at the end of the day. We are happier, all of us, and everybody listening, because nobody's an exception to this. We're happy if we fill our own cup, take care of ourselves, our personal development, then go out in the world and make a difference. If I didn't get the laundry done, I could live with that. I can do that tomorrow, but I can't do my personal development for me today. And you don't save time by skipping it. I know it's counterintuitive. People like, I don't have time to work out today. And they'll say, did you get anything more done? No, I didn't. It just works that way.
Yeah. But, and I agree with you totally. But there's a lot of people that don't do it. Even, I live in Florida and there is sunshine, 99.9% of the time. And people can just go and walk, and people don't walk. They don't go to the gym. They don't go to the park. They drive in cars, and they don't make physical fitness a priority. They don't make reading books a priority. Nobody reads after they've left school. I'm so glad that podcasts are exploding, because podcasts is probably where a lot of people are learning these days, because it's exploding and people are listening, and coaches like yourself are on these podcasts, and and people are teaching them, even if it's a celebrity that tells them, I was poor, like, I don't know if you listen to Viola Davis' story. I mean, what she went through, and now she's up here. Even those things are like motivation. But I've always been I love books. I mean, from 10, I would be reading goblets and goblets of books. I love books. And, when I came into the personal development space, I'm reading almost every book that you've talked about, except The Compounding Effect. I've read, and, I'm reading books every day. I'm listening to podcasts every day. And, just this weekend, I'm not, I'm getting older, right? And, the pains happened, and my knee was having a problem, and I wouldn't stop walking. And my husband is saying to me, if you got a pain in your knee, you should rest your knee. And I'm looking at him and saying, no, I am not going to be one of those people that's going to sit around and say my foot hurt.
Yeah, that's right. That's a slippery slope, right?
Yeah. What was that?
I said, that's a slippery slope. Once you're like, oh, my knee hurts, I can't go. And then there's something else. And
but some I know that when I'm walking, my knee doesn't hurt. And I know that if I can, sit around and say, okay, my knee's what's going to hurt for a year. I'm getting older. It's going to hurt. But what I'm trying to say, I'm agreeing with you that I've made those things my priority. And I had a guest the other day come on and talk about some, Chinese guy that's her neighbor, and she lives in New York. And this 90-year-old man walks every day, sun, rain, snow, because he knows that that's what's going to, help him in longevity. My mom is 85, and I tell her all the time, Mom, you walk, and she got pain in her foot. Maybe she doesn't go as fast, maybe doesn't go as far, but she walks. So yes, what you're saying is very important. Exercise, spirituality, it has to make you feel good. Like he talked about Dr. Wayne Dwyer. He says, if you feel good, or whatever, there's a couple of things. If you think good, you're going to feel good. And if you feel good, whatever, but feeling good is the important thing. Yes, right. And so your habits are yes, foundational.
Yeah, and they might, and like you said, like, we have a commitment. Ken and I both, we don't mostly do it together, not always, but we have 14,000 steps a day besides our workout. So we're out walking all kinds of weather, and sometimes like, oh, it's really cold, but then we'll end up saying, we've been in like sleet and rain. I'm in Idaho. Florida would be a picnic, wouldn't it? Right. So we've been in all those kinds of weather. We don't love the cold, but we'll always say it feels still, no matter what the weather, it feels better doing it than not doing it. But yes. I mean, honestly, some days I go out and I don't feel like it. And some days I didn't have a nice time, but I'm still going to be proud of me for doing it. And somebody asked me one day, we were going to go for a walk. We were with some friends and they were all tucked in cozy. It was like 10 o'clock at night. We had to go get the rest of our steps out. She said, like, what happens if you don't do it? And we said, I didn't say anything then, but what I wish I would have said was, that's the beginning of the end. If I don't do it for this reason, then pretty soon another reason comes along and another reason. And pretty soon I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm sitting on the couch watching Netflix.
You started going to the gym and you're going and you're exercising or you're walking or you're doing anything, even meditating, right? You know, there's a time I would get up and sit on my meditation cushion and I stopped doing it. And then I don't do it now anymore, but I still meditate. I don't go on the cushion, but that's exactly what happens. Once you stop doing something, your brain is in there saying you don't want to do it. You don't feel like doing it. And it becomes, you know, like lifting weights. You've got to push through it. It's true. But anything that you do on a regular basis, and that's why you're talking about habits, then you don't even have to think about it, right? I don't have to think about my morning routine because it's there. You know, when I go to the gym, I've included, you know, strength training now, but before I would just walk a 5K every morning. And I love it. And I love walking. I love the sunshine. I love listening to books because that's what I do. I listen to books when I'm walking. And I was at a level 10 joy. So, you know, so then I incorporate, you know, strength training and cardio because walking doesn't really pump the heart up. So I go to the gym, but I much prefer walking. But the point is, I'm doing something and I'm doing it every day. And if my knee hurts or my back hurts or whatever, I'm still gonna do it. Because I even heard, you know, you're a fitness trainer, they're saying motion is lotion, and it's true. You got a pain, you walk and you do stuff, it goes away.
Yeah, it's true. I used to say, I might still say, but the gym I said particularly, now I say it once in a while, that motion heals, movement heals. I say movement heals. And it's really true. And part of it is mental. It's like your brain sending the signal, Myrna, you don't want to do that. Your knee hurts, right? Come on, you can just set that little brain's always, it thinks it's protecting us, but it gets in the way. And then once you go out and do it, it gives it up, right? It gives it up like, all right, she's going to walk anyway. And so that's also the best way. Nothing worse to make that knee hurt worse than to baby it and to sit on the couch, because then if nothing else, the psychological part gets a hold and takes you down that path. So yeah, you just got to keep moving within obviously some common sense. But in my workout program, it was pretty intense. It was a boutique boot camp kind of program. And people would say, well, I don't know if I feel very good, if I can work out. And I said, just come. But I would tell them the only reason to miss your workout, you can borrow this if you want, is if you're dead or dying, bleeding profusely, or have a high fever. Otherwise, show up for your workouts. and that's my own philosophy too. I mean, I'd have to be one of those things to not get my steps in, not get my workouts in, that I've set aside for myself. So that's me. But I feel that way about habits. If I mean it, I mean it. And it's much harder it's harder to be in the in-between place where you're kind of doing it. It's much easier just to be fully committed. That part-way commitment is never a good place. It's always difficult. 1 foot in and 1 foot out, 100%. And then like you said, you know, you're in this habit, you just do it. Now I might be thinking, some days I might be putting on my workout clothes and thinking, I don't really feel like going today, but I'm putting them on and going. It's not a question. I'm just complaining in my brain, right? But there's never any question that I'm going to go. And that's okay, because the habit is so ingrained that there's no way I'm staying home. So I got to go.
Exactly. That's me too. I've been doing this now for over 5 years. So, you know, every day. So it's a habit. It's ingrained. I love it. I love how I feel and the whole thing, you know, and then I also know for a fact, because everywhere I listen, everybody, even Dr. Mark Hyman this morning when I was listening to him on a podcast, he's talking about, if you want to live long, you got to get exercise. It is fundamental. So I do it because, you know, I don't want, he wasn't not talking about living longer. You're talking about the quality of life. You know, if you want to live longer and be healthier or be whatever. And that's why I do it. You know, that's what the back of my brain is that I don't want to live in a bed or in a hospital or something. And that's basically why I work out and I exercise. And that's basically what he's talking about. Quality of life.
Quality of life. When you get older, there's so many. I've done a couple of Dale Bredesen's books on dementia. And it's the same old story. Your heart disease or dementia or diabetes or depression. Eat well, move. It's,
Right.
you know, I
Yes.
mean, there's some other
Yes.
things, some vitamins, some supplements, stuff, but those two factors, eat right. By eating right, I hate that phrase actually because it gets so overused, but eat the food that God made, not the stuff that you buy in the grocery store,
Right. Right.
and
In
move.
the camp.
And if you just can do those two things, all the benefits, all those diseases, we're dying from chronic illnesses like crazy. Like that's what's killing us nowadays, like those
Yeah.
heart disease and those things. Instead of, we should be dying by accidents from out, I don't know, parachuting or something,
Right.
skydiving or something.
Right. Right. Right.
But all besides those benefits, and then this is a little bit of a soapbox for me. I am a whole life coach, but I'm pretty good with the fitness part, obviously, because it's my background. But it's not only just that, but we feel better and we develop disciplines from it. Our body's going to work better. Our brain's going to work better. Everything is better. Of course, almost everybody knows this. It just doesn't mean that they're going to do it. But everything that we really want in life is into that little exercise routine. Sex is better. Everything's better, when you work it out.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that. All right. So this is amazing. Love our conversation. Now, one of the things that you also focus on in your book is money. So let's touch on that for a minute. Personal finances. You were saying that if you want to make lots of money, it's a good driver for life mastery. And I think, if I were to put my little 2 cents in, what you're basically saying is goals. If you have a goal of doing something, then you would achieve it. So how do you teach your clients to want lots of money and then go ahead and make it?
Well, but to that perspective, right? Well, there's 8 areas, and I write this on the book. There's our spirituality, our relationships, our fitness, education, money, vocation. There's 8 different areas, and so it's only one piece of that 8-piece pie, but it is important. So usually, of course, they set their own goals, and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, so we do a lot of entrepreneurial kind of goals. But you can do more good in the world if you have money. If you want money so you can just gloat, then that's not very good. Jim Rohn said, make $1 million for what it will make of you. If you go out and make a lot of money, you're going to learn a ton of things. You're going to touch a ton of lives. You're going to be able to spread that money around a little bit. You can do so much good, both with the money and with the resources. Was it Elon Musk that went to the moon? Yeah, right. Went up to outer space. I can't remember what the thing
Right.
was.
He's building
space shot.
He's bring transportation to the right space, right?
Right. So somebody's like criticizing. I'm thinking, I wonder how many people he's put to work, how many people have been trained, all the things, how much knowledge has been gained through this process. I don't begrudge him that at all, because how many people is going to employ to do that? Just that alone. And they're going to learn skills that they might be cleaning toilets, otherwise, who knows? All of that's going to be gained in the process. And we forget about that. We just focus on the end result, the money that is being spent. But look at all it's being gained. I'm not a fan of the whole thing. I'm just saying that's an example. So we're the same. My young people will contact me once in a while. They'll be like maybe 25 or 30. I want to be a life coach. And they're not working, or they're working a pretty low level job. I'm like, go get a job and make a difference while you're at that job, because you don't have enough life experience to be a life coach. It doesn't pay that well, especially at your age. It pays pretty good at my age, but about your age. Go get a job and make a difference with the people around you. Learn all you can, be kind, touch people's lives, teach them the principles that you're learning when they ask. Don't go preachy, go around being preachy. Learn, apply life, learn how to support yourself, then learn how to then be able to support some other people like your family. And then when you're all financially good and you learned a whole bunch of stuff, then you can go find another way. You can choose how you serve. I can choose how I serve because I have the financial resources to serve any way I want. And that's the goal right there, right? Financially, is to get yourself to a point where you can serve and make a difference in the ways you choose to, and not have to worry about how to put food on the table.
I absolutely love that. And that's going to be a good one. I've never heard that one. I've never heard it put that way before, but there was a time where almost every day someone was reaching out to me on Facebook. They want to be a life coach. It was just like how podcasts are exploding. There's a time when everybody wanted to be a life coach, and you're right. But that's a good way to, yeah, you're right. I'm not sure if they thought it made a lot of money or not, but it was the beauty of it, the sounding of it, and life coach, whatever. But it was very everybody wanted to be a life coach. And that's a good way to tell them to do it. Go make a difference in what you're doing right now, right? And your circle of influence, your children, your whatever. And then once you're financially able, then you can serve that way. Because yeah, life coaching is very hard to get the clients that's going to pay you enough for you to survive. Most of the time,
and you have to have
coaching
enough
for
life
free.
experience. You have to have enough life experience that you're worth paying for, right? Like,
Right,
I'm going to have a 25-year-old give me life coaching. I don't think so. They haven't had enough life to give me life coaching, right? So that's an important part. I really feel, we started about this earlier, but I feel really strongly about this. Anything you want to teach, live it first.
Yes.
You can't just read a book or try a few ideas and think, oh, well, I'd like to go share this. And I want to say, I do think these young people are sincere. They want to make a difference. I really believe that. They just think that's a good way to do it, and it isn't for them. They need to go find another way to do it. But I really do think that they're sincere and want to make a difference.
I like that answer.
But you've got to go live for a while.
Yeah.
Go make a bunch of mistakes. Somebody said to me that they were working on a project. I've got this planner that we put out this with Life Mastery, and we had a little problem with it. And she said, the gal that's helping me publish it, who's awesome, Rooftop Publishing's in Utah. She said, well, we'll go take that back to the printers and make them so let's maintain the relationship, right? We'll pay the difference. We did end up having him do that anyways. It turned out it was worse than I thought. But she said, how'd you get so wise? I said, this is how come I'm so smart. I made a lot of mistakes. So you got to live long enough to make a lot of mistakes. So
it's true. And if you want to quote Elon Musk, he also said the same thing, that yes, in order to failure, is the best teacher. It's true.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So go make a lot of mistakes, make a lot of money, then go be a life coach. That'd be my advice.
Yeah. I love that. That is wisdom right there. All right. Now, you said something earlier that you read a lot of books, but nobody told you how to get started. So how do we get started mastering our lives today? What's the first step?
I'm a big believer in simple systems, but simple systems. There's some planner systems that are so complicated, it'd take me a training for a year to learn how to use them. So I believe in really simple steps. Two that I teach mainly. They've got a third one that's a bit maybe say for another day. But first one is you got to track your daily habits. Got to just track it. If you don't track it, Peter Drucker said that what gets measured gets managed, and that's just how you develop those habits. So I have these are available free on my website. I've had them on every website I've had for every business I've owned for the last 15 years. I made them available. But they're just like a little chart. I got this idea of a children's chart back when I was in my 20s. And you just list the items you want down the left-hand column here. It's like a calendar kind of, right? The days of the month are across the top. And you write down what you want. Maybe it's meditation, workout, eat clean, floss my teeth, whatever it is, read 20 minutes of this, read 20 minutes of that, have a devotional, all these habits that you want to do every day. And then you got to find the parameters first. You have to say, okay, this I'm only going to do 5 days a week. I'm going to do this for 20 minutes. You have to just say what works, what is a workout. You have to be very clear in your mind what constitutes a workout. Because you're going to have a busy day. Maybe you'll go to the gym for 20 minutes. Will that count? No, I need 45 minutes. Maybe in the future I'll be busier and I'll say, the next go around, I might say 20 minutes will work sometimes. But in this month that I'm setting up my chart for, a workout has to be this, or it doesn't count. I have to have 14,000 steps, not 13,900, but 14,000 like that, right? So then you determine what your habits, how many days a week that you want it. Then you check it off if you get it done. If it's a day you don't do it, like I don't work out, I don't require myself to work out on the weekends. I might on Saturday and I might not. I don't on Sunday, but it's not required. So I can get an X on those days it's not required. And a zero, a blank. It's just a blank if you don't do it. And you can't believe how much your ego, brain, whatever it is, hates that blank. People will be like, and I've done it. I still do it sometimes. I do something before I go to bed. I didn't get done earlier. So I'm not going to go to bed, get up in the morning and face that blank spot on my tracking sheet. So you can get those tracking sheets at lifemasterinfo.com. They're totally free, no obligation, there's nothing. And they come in a couple different sizes still, I believe. I haven't checked on them recently, but they're real. And also in the book, you can see a copy of them in the book. I can show you a picture of what they look like if you want. And then the other thing I teach are daily written affirmations, because some things don't fit in a box. Like if I want to be a better listener, how am I going to put that on a tracking sheet? I could put it on there, but how am I going to measure? Because things on your tracking sheet have to be, yes, I did or no, I didn't. No ambiguity, no gray area. It has to be yes, I did or no, I didn't. Well, did I listen today better? It's a judgment call, right? Or maybe I want to be kinder, or I want to smile more. How am I going to measure that? But we can work with the subconscious by there's a lot of talk about affirmations, and sometimes people are reading other people's affirmations. So I think it's a total waste of time. You want an affirmation that means something to you, your language, strong language that feels powerful. Like, yeah, I want that. I have one I share about in the book that I use as an example all the time, but it's about laughing. I was just so serious. I don't know where I got so serious, but hardly ever laugh. I laugh. I tell myself on the podcast, I've done about 120 of these, and I was like, Sherry, don't laugh so much. So I do laugh a lot, but I did then. And so it's still on my affirmations. I never want to lose it. But I laugh easily and often. I think I want that. I want to laugh easily. I want to be that person. So you want that kind of language. So about 8 to 10 of those every day on the things that you really matter to you. And they can reinforce another habit. Like maybe you're trouble getting out of bed. I get up early, plus a bit on your tracking sheet. I get up at 6 o'clock on my tracking sheet. On my affirmations, I could say I get up early if I'm struggling with something. But mostly they're going to be things like how we treat other people. I have one about being aware of my thoughts. I'm working really hard on mindfulness and being aware of what I think about other people in particular, how I'm thinking about other people, make sure that my thoughts are generous. I have one about identifying eating my frogs. That's from Brian Tracy. Those things you don't really want to do in the day. And sometimes I feel the weight of these things, like everybody, right? And they're not even hard. I just got in the habit of doing that. So I take care of those things early. So I do about 13 affirmations right now. I think, no, I do 11 affirmations right now. I have 14 things on my tracking sheet. But I would suggest people, you can go ahead and do 8 to 10 affirmations, but on the tracking sheet, just start with 3 or 4. Maybe you have something you already do really well, go ahead and put that on there. And then maybe something you're kind of struggling with, put that on there. And then maybe 1 or 2 more. Don't go any more than that because you don't want to sink yourself. And they'll come pretty quick. And just put it with your planning, day planning, critical habit every day to plan your day, and make sure you check your tracking sheets and do your affirmations at the same time.
I like the tracking sheet. Yes. And somebody says that you can't grow anything you don't measure. I think it's probably Tony Robbins that said that. And that's always been in the back of my mind as well, too. He talked about a growth chart when, your kids were growing up, you put them on the growth chart. But so that's actually pretty good. I like the tracking. I've never heard anybody come on the show and talk about that. Daily affirmations. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you don't hear it very often. I just have recently in the last maybe 2 years, have I heard very much about using. I've had a couple of podcasters though that I've been on their show and they said, oh, I just started doing that, or either got the idea from me or they picked it up somewhere else. So there's some other people teaching, so this kind of a tracking sheet, but it's not very common. It's one of the things I learned by myself when I couldn't get anybody to tell me what to do. So I started this little chart, like I did a children's chore chart. And that's how I started. I started with 3 habits. I started with prayer, journal writing, and scripture reading. And then I added fitness right after that. And then planning my day, I added right after that. So I had those 5 habits. I had all those kids. So those 5 habits were, if I could work out and pray and read my scriptures and exercise and, those 5, I thought that was a good day.
That was a good day. Yes,
yeah.
That's amazing. I like that. So yeah. And so now the daily affirmations, I have to circle back on that. So I'm assuming in your book, you tell them how to design these affirmations, since it's got to come from them, and it's not, I've read books that they tell you to say these affirmations, but I don't remember them, because it's like learning your times tables. You got to remember them. So when you make your own up, it's much easier. So you teach them how to make up their affirmations in your book. Is that how you do it?
Right. Let me just because some people, well, I know most of your listeners probably won't buy the book. I hope you will. It's on Amazon. Life Mastery, Personal Progression Towards an Infinite Potential. It's on Amazon. But if you don't buy the book, I'm still going to tell you how to do it. So they're daily written, and you write the same ones every day. They will change, of course, over time. You're not going to always forever write the same ones, but you write the same ones, preferably by memory. And I think numbering them helps. That's how I do it. You don't have to. And then they should be done as if they were already as if they already were. I laugh easily and often, like that. I am kind. I smile at strangers, whatever things. And this is so important that this, by writing it, it's going to like 100 times be more powerful than just saying them. And I mean, saying them is good too. I mean, go ahead and say them, but write them and write them. And that one habit is so easy to backslide your progress by not doing, you miss a day. So just, it only takes a minute. So I would just say, don't ever miss just this one thing. You do this for yourself. If this is all you can do, well, I shouldn't say, there's probably other things I'd say the same thing about, but really do this one thing. And then just do it in the positive. Like, you don't want to use a negative word like I am debt free, doesn't work because it focuses on the debt. You want to say I'm financially independent. You know,
like that.
I don't frown, no, say I don't frown, say I smile, like that. And then you just write them every single day. Like the planner that we just developed, them just out this year, that last month, it's got a place, the reason I developed it, it's got a place for a tracking sheet every month and a place to write your affirmations, plus your schedule and your to-do list and all the regular things. So I'm getting really good feedback on that planner. I'm quite excited about that.
It sounds really good. So this is a good time to tell our listeners about your book. Why did you write it? Where they can get it? Your website that you talked about, that we can get the tracking sheet and the affirmations. So yeah, so your book is called Life Mastery, Personal Progression Towards an Infinite Potential. So let's talk about your book.
Okay, it's Life Mastery, Infinite Personal Progression Towards Infinite Potential. It's a black book with it's a pretty, let me show you the picture. It looks like this. So that's what it looks like. There's a picture of me on the back. Beautiful. I'm going to change the picture though. Picture's about 3 years old, but I put my hair, I'm doing my hair, gray hair thing. So I hate it when you see a picture of somebody on a book and then you see them in real life and they look, like way younger. This is not a very old picture, but still, I don't want to do that. Anyway, so that's the book, and it's also on Audible. It's on Amazon. It's on Audible. I read it. I've never read a book before, so I'm a good speaker. I don't know how good a reader I am, so we'll see how that. I think I've got good feedback, but I can't listen to it myself. I drive me crazy. I listened to it too much when we were getting it recording. I just had enough. But it's good. I get good feedback on it. It's got good reviews. And then I have a workbook also on Amazon that I use with my clients. I just plopped it up there. I thought maybe other people could use it because I've used it for years. It's just the same one I've used for like a long time with clients. And let's see, we're also on Kindle, and I think that covers it. And then the website is lifemasteryinfo.com. Life Mastery was taken, so you got to make sure it's lifemasteryinfo.com. And I am very accessible. You can email me anytime about anything, and I will respond. If I don't respond, I didn't get it, because I'm really good about that. And that's Life Mastery. It's Sherry at lifemasteryinfo.com. Because my mission now, because I made enough money so I can live, I don't need to work anymore unless I want to. My way to make a difference is to be available to people, to do podcasts, answer questions, and then I don't work with a ton of clients. I'm actually I had a couple drop off this month, so I try to keep it under 5. I've had 7 until recently, but I don't do any more than that because I travel a lot, and I really want to be really devoted to those people. Like, you got me, and I'm there.
That's beautiful.
You can call me anytime. You can talk to me anytime. We're going to be best friends for all eternity.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. Well, one of the reasons that people become coaches is because they do want to help the world. They do want to make changes. They have a heart to help people. I mean, that's really what the profession is about.
I hope that's what social media?
Right.
Yeah, we have Facebook. There's Life Mastery Mentors on Facebook. Is the Facebook page, and there's lots of good information there. I got a tie up with the Instagram thing right now, and I've not bothered to solve it. So somebody started the account, and then we can't find them. They can't find the password. We can't get on, and we have not solved that problem. So I don't know. I have a gal that does social media for me. So I think she may have solved it. She may not have. I don't know where we're at on Instagram. I don't personally do Instagram. I do Facebook, but so I may or may not have Instagram. Isn't that terrible? I don't know. But you can get me on Facebook. You can also message me on Facebook. So, yes. And please sign and be, follow the page. We'd first love that. I would love that if you do that.
Yes, so that's awesome. So Sherry, boy, we started rocking and roll right out of the gate. It's like we're like racehorses. I love it. We had a really good conversation. We covered a lot of things. But yes, I see your heart. I see Life Mastery. That's a really great title for your book, because you're sharing the things that you have learned to master life. And you're, like you said, you read it, you do it, you teach it. So that's amazing. All right, guys. So a transcript of my conversation with Sherry will be on the show page, which is blog.myhelps.us. I would have links out to her website, as well as to the Facebook group. If you find your Instagram, you can send it to me. I'm Sherry, and I can also post that, because a lot of people now, that's where they hang out the most. But
I know,
yeah,
I gotta really do something about that.
yeah, you guys go pick up her book and learn. And I absolutely love the 2 simple steps that you left with us, where it's the tracking. Yeah, it's the tracking. When you look at it, it's like a reflection. And one of the things that I've learned is that if your brain has to trust you. So you talk about seeing that blank spot when you didn't do something. But what also happens is, if you tell your brain, or you tell your inner person, that you're going to exercise 20 minutes a day, let's use that one, and you don't, right? One of the reasons that it's very easy to drop exercising totally is because your brain doesn't trust you. So if your brain doesn't trust you, then it's not going to work for you. So one of my habits is, like, anything you say you're going to do, you do it. So your brain starts to trust. It's just like how you've got to trust, somebody's got to trust you at your word. Your brain has to trust you at the word. So I like the tracking device, or the tracking chart, because you're building up trust for yourself. You're building up trust for your brain. And it's a great thing. And yeah, affirmations are the top thing. I mean, but I like what Sherry is doing, is she's saying that you make an affirmation that means something to you, right? And something that you want to change. Now, I've read books that says that you make these affirmations, and sooner or later, just the same thing, like how your brain is, can't trust you. Sooner or later, your brain is going to, start believing it. When you start saying it in the beginning, your brain is saying, that's a bunch of crap. But sooner or later, it starts to believe it. So affirmations are powerful. So I love that. Yes. Any circle back on that?
Yeah, it's a couple of things you said about trusting, about your brain trusting you, but also other people. It's much easier for people to have confidence in you when they see that you're a person that does what they say they're going to do, and it shows in your life. It shows. It will show that you walk your talk, and so then people. I believe the law of attraction really is this: we work on ourselves, and then things are attracted to us, and mainly I think it's because of that trust factor, and so that's important. I was also going to say all those affirmations. Some of them you're going to see magical things happen. Like I've had amazing, like that is crazy things. A few, not all the time, but sometimes. And you never know which ones are going to be this way. I've had some where I thought, I am not making much progress here. And then I've had some I could see the progress, or I'm thinking, but just because you're not remembering them, try to remember them during the day. Of course, sometimes that's how they'll work. But even if you're not remembering during the day, something is happening. Our subconscious, and what Carol Leaf calls is our subconscious and non-conscious brains. There's stuff going on in that deeper, where we can't consciously access it. Eventually it will rise to the surface and will become an outward performance of something's happening deep inside. So you got to trust the process. You'll get just enough results immediately to keep you in there if you watch for them, but trust the long-term process. I have some that I've had in some form or another for a dozen years, and not because I've made progress, but because they're so valuable to me. I don't want to backslide even an iota. Like the laughing thing, I don't want to slide back even one little bit. So just trust the process. It works.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes, well, Sherry, I love my work. I love expanding my mind by talking to guests that, make me think and expand my mind. So my brain is being transformed along with you guys that are listening. So Sherry, thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Again, you guys go out and pick up a copy of her book. You know, you can listen to it on Audible, as she says, or you can get a hard copy of it. But again, it's called Life Mastery, Personal Progression Towards an Infinite Potential. And listen, potential is the big word there, because anything you want, you can have. You just got to work on it. So
Yeah,
thank you,
so true.
Sherry.
Thank you, Mer. It's been delightful. You're doing a good job and a good work, and you got a
Yeah.
beautiful smile.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, yes, I appreciate that. All right, guys, well, listen, we're fresh out of time, so thanks for tuning in to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio podcast and television show. If you're listening to this on iTunes, I would love for you to rate and review. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe. Until next time, namaste.